Women Rising. I'm JJ Flazanes. Welcome to the show. We have with us Dr. Elizabeth Wisniewski, and I'm excited to hear her story. It is going to be very inspirational. Welcome to the show, Dr. Elizabeth.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
So you are a part of the Ventura County Businesswomen in the Facebook group, and you learned about this podcast and this launch. And what were some of the things that you thought about when you heard we were doing the show?
I think it's really powerful to showcase what women entrepreneurs are doing, not just here in Ventura, but on the West Coast of the US and beyond, because there's so many amazing businesses. Every time I'm in the Facebook group, I'm taking screenshots of new businesses or things that are being launched. And I usually can't go to the meetings because I have my practice, but I'm always learning a lot from the group. So I was excited this can get it out to more people.
So you tell us about you have so many aspects of your story. You have what you do in the world, but then of course what you've had to overcome to get to be doing what you're doing in the world. So you want to take us back
Yeah.
as far as it makes sense to
Mhm.
when either your personal story happened or when the birth of your business happened?
Sure. I'll go back in time a bit, briefly to my childhood and being diagnosed with a really rare retinal disease, which led to me having over 30 eye surgeries from the time I was about 6 years old until my mid 20s. And that really shaped my life because I grew up being able to see just fine. I wore glasses. And over time, this degenerative retinal disease, I lost my eyesight in my right eye when I was 14. My mother passed away from cancer that same year. So my freshman year of high school was really hard, but she really instilled these skill sets into me of how to advocate for myself, how to meet objectives in the course curriculum, but by getting there in a different way. So when I was 22, I was done with undergrad. I had double majored in poli-sci and environmental studies, wanting to go to law school. But about a week after graduation, I had my 30th surgery and it didn't go as according to plan, and I lost most of my eyesight then in my left eye. So I was at this crossroads of not knowing what to do, and I was so young, and I felt like all my dreams had just imploded. But I was back in Michigan, where I'm from, at my parents' house, my dad and stepmom's house, and I heard a commercial for a medical massage school and just thought, I'm going to do that. My eyesight always bounces back after these surgeries. Let me just do something. And a couple weeks in, I went to my dad and thanked him for paying for undergrad and told him I think I was actually meant to be a chiropractor because I just fell in love with anatomy and physiology. It all really made sense to me. So I had to go back and take all my science classes like chemistry and physics without being able to see them, doing mental math for the equations, and then went to chiro school. And everything my mom had taught me about meeting objectives in a different way really came into place. And I had to self advocate quite a bit to have accommodations and all my needs met. But I was able to become a doctor not just once, but twice. I ended up going to Pacifica Graduate Institute here in Santa Barbara and got a second doctorate, a PhD in somatic depth psychology, and about 25 other certifications in between.
What a story. So I'm intrigued. And obviously, it being from, I have a background in health and wellness also from a personal training standpoint. And obviously, I go to the chiropractor. So I can see how feeling is enough, right? Like that seeing doesn't have to be there. You
Mhm.
can feel. Is that how you do your chiropractic? I'm guessing. Are there
Yeah.
ways to overcome some of the things? Because I know for some people, chiropractors take x-rays and they go over them.
Mhm.
Like, how do you treat your practice differently with having your eyesight the way that it is?
Yeah, about 50% of chiros do take x-rays, but those are based on their technique systems often. And if there's red flags, I send out for x-rays. And my practice, I focus mainly on perinatal. I was the first chiro to be perinatal certified within 100 miles. And that was during the pandemic. And so I see lots of pregnant people, preconception, postpartum, as well as lots and lots of babies. So it's really gentle, everything I do. And for me, I'm using my hands, my heart, even my third eye intuition. And so that's how I overcome it because I have this deep seat of knowing. And I've been doing body work for 19 years. I've been a chiropractor for 13 years now. So I really trust what I feel and from the history and everything. And so that's how I've really taken this huge challenge of losing my eyesight, but turned it into a strength and an asset.
Definitely. Can I ask if you know what your sun and moon are in astrology?
I do. I'm a Cancer sun and a Scorpio moon with a Leo rising.
Oh, okay. How about any chance you know your true node?
I do. Yeah, I know all of it. Don't worry. My North Node is in Gemini, but my Mercury's in Leo as well. So that's why I like come across with all this fire. And that really helps me because otherwise I'm a really sensitive water sign.
How about your Venus and Mars?
Venus is in Cancer and Mars is in Scorpio.
Whoa, yes, lots of water. Very
Yeah,
sensitive. I'm a
yeah.
Pisces with a lot of
Okay.
Sag.
Yeah.
And obviously do a lot of astrology with my clients. So
I love it.
I like to say have that perspective
Hmm.
because especially as a Cancer with a
Hmm.
Scorpio moon, I mean you
Hmm.
it could have turned out you could have been real mad. Like right?
Yes.
Like this could
Yeah.
and so my question is I mean obviously this is an amazing story and you know when people often complain we have such limited viewpoints in our lives most of the time because we take for granted so many things that we have. And we always look at a lot of people look ahead, they're counting what isn't working, they're waiting for things that aren't working, and they're actually appreciating what they have. And so we get out of balance and we end up in this cycle and this spin, if you will. And so what would be some of the things that helped you and I know I'm hearing the voice of your mother. And I also asked you your
Hmm.
astrology because I teach intuition courses myself
Mm.
and rely heavily on my intuition. And it's strengthened because you can strengthen your intuition just like anything else.
Hmm.
Just like a muscle, you can strengthen your intuition. And people don't know
Yeah.
that. They think, oh, I have to be born psychic or born clairvoyant or clairaudient. But I'm sure with the loss of sight that
Yeah.
many things got strengthened. Yes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And they've even shown on functional MRIs that your cells will migrate from one cortex of your brain to another when there's a diminished or lost sense. So I absolutely feel that my hearing's really acute. And yeah, I could just feel things and palpate with even like the little tip of my finger. And that's why I feel I do well with adjusting babies because you're not manually cracking their neck. It's really gentle and specific. So I feel into that very deeply.
How do you get your clients? I'm just curious as to where you started networking or
Mhm.
how did you develop your business?
So I moved from the Bay Area when I went to Chiro school there to Santa Barbara. Initially, I practiced there for almost 11 years, and now I've been in Ventura just over a year and a half. And I didn't know anyone when I moved to Santa Barbara. And so what I did is I got on the board of NAWBO, National Association of Women Business Owners for Santa Barbara. I was on their board, and then I was on the board of Women's Economic Ventures Weave. So that was really good for just getting to know people in the community. And then I made a list of all the types of business owners I would want to meet with, and then met with over 200 business owners in person over the first couple of years I was in practice and new in Santa Barbara, and would bring materials, not asking them of like, oh, refer to me. I never said that, but I would find articles somehow relating our professions and would make them a folder and say, how can we collaborate? And I would look at their website, I would learn their mission statement so that we could find these connection points that were really authentic. So I didn't just meet with everybody, if their website I wasn't getting an embodied yes, I moved along. And then we sent them handwritten thank you notes. And that's how I really connected in the community, was very involved those first few years. And I haven't done any marketing since. Um, my practice mostly followed me when I moved to Ventura, still getting new patients every week from Goleta, Santa Barbara, Santa Ynez, all the way to LA because of my expertise in perinatal and babies. And so now I get lots of referrals from OBs, midwives, doulas, and then all the mom groups. The mom groups are amazing.
I love that. That is such a great way to handle networking and to go into being new in a situation. Tawny and I were just talking about that on one of the most recent podcasts when we started the show about the feel. And hopefully we'll do another full segment about it because I've
Hmm.
been networking since 2001. I've had a business since 2001 and I haven't
Hmm.
networked the whole time, but I did sort of what you did in terms of I came in, I started to get to know everybody. I made myself known. I had conversations and relationships and I hired people, but there's an energy to networking that is bad or good, depending
Hmm.
on if you learn how to do it correctly. And I love that you
Yeah.
are sharing that you went in with the collaboration idea versus the selling
Hmm.
idea. So if you're listening to the show and you're someone who's in business and you're networking, it's really not a good energy to walk into a room expecting to get. If everybody walks in to get, you've got 100 people who are expecting to